Now, Brett, we still have the MLB to talk about, and there is a long list of games that we have, as always. But before we get into that, you and I were talking about the MVP races because those futures are looking a little interesting, even though we're just entering June. The NL one actually is a lot closer, but if you look at the AL has, at least in Oregon, Shohei Ohtani at plus 130, Vlad Guerrero Jr. at plus 250, and then you don't see anyone's odds until plus 2,000 at the next. So it's a two-horse race is what the book's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, Higgins. I think it's a two-horse race in the AL. Buxton was fantastic the first month of the season. Obviously, been on the injured list since, and you know, Bogarts has been incredible this year, but I don't think he's having the year that Shohei or Vlad Guerrero Jr. are having. With all due respect to Xander. I got ahead of myself. I threw in an extra X there.
I think you threw in maybe an extra X and a extra R or B. I'm not quite sure. Xander's hard. But the NL has a much more interesting race, and it also includes a pitcher. Jake DeGrom is at plus 900. He's behind Tatis at plus 350, and Acuna, who's the front runner, at plus 300. And the NL, I don't have a horse in this race. I'm not quite sure which one this one's going to be, but DeGrom has been throwing the lights out, and he did go on the IL briefly, but oh so briefly was it.
Yeah, I mean, Acuna's been beat up once or twice this season. We've seen Tatis head to the IL once or twice as well. So this one seems to have a little more wiggle room here, Higgins. It seems to be three guys are in it. Maybe the Dodgers, as they continue to get healthy, maybe they get a guy in the race as well. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what uh, happens in the NL Central too. If the Cubs and Cardinals can keep this up, if they can get a guy in the race as well. But I think Tatis, Acuna, DeGrom, the way they've started the year, they deserve to be the top three.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree with that. Let's get into the games, though, on Thursday, Brett. The Red Sox are at the Astros in this one, and I am in love with this game because we have two heavy hitting squads in a hitter's ballpark. The over under is only at 9, and the Astros are the second best team in the MLB at hitting overs this year. So you're going to find me taking a line that's at minus 118, Brett. I know it's not a plus odds, but over 9, minus 118 in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if in the morning this could be at minus 9.5. Obviously, that's where the line seems to be heading towards. So I'm going to grab it while it's still at 9, potentially get my push, and not be caught on a hook.
Fair enough, Higgins. I think over 9 for these two offenses makes a lot of sense. I'm not a huge fan of Martin Perez. Jake Odorizzi has not been particularly good this year. So this definitely smells like it could be an over 9 with these offenses in Houston for sure.
Odorizzi's ERA is a 6.75 so far this season. So pair that against Perez, who has an ERA of a 3.5, 3.55. That sounds like an over 9 any day, absolutely. But Brett, I also have a bet in on a game that we're not quite sure who is on the mound yet, and it's the Tigers versus the White Sox, and that's because Chicago had their game on Wednesday get postponed. Lance Lynn was supposed to start on Wednesday, so is he going to get pushed to Thursday, or is he going to end up getting replaced somewhere else in the rotation, somewhere else during that series? If he doesn't, there is a probable pitcher of um, Dallas Keuchel instead. And honestly, I like either of those guys against Casey Mize and the Detroit Tigers in Chicago. So give me the White Sox at minus 1.5 at plus 104 because the White Sox are one of the best teams against the run line in the MLB.
All right, Higgins. Well, I think the White Sox have definitely earned uh, your respect, my respect, right? Like they've been good this year. Detroit has not been great. Casey Mize is one of those young arms for the Tigers that has a lot of promise, and they have hoping on for the future. But today is not the future, Higgins. Today is today, and I like Chicago at -1.5 at +104. I think it's a great bet for you to take. I'm staying off of it. But I did see that as well, and I said, you know what, Higgins beat me to it, so I'm gonna stay away.
Well, Lance Lynn's obviously the preferred starter. He's having a lights out type of year, 6-1, a 1.37 ERA as he heads into June. But Dallas Keuchel's not bad either. He's just allowed a few more runs. He's 4-1 on the season, has a 4.53 ERA though. So in terms of taking a run line, you obviously want the Lance Lynn, who's not going to let up as many runs most likely, and hopefully the White Sox bats can give you a good cushion.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna find myself on a Marlins Pirates game, Higgins. That like your game, not too many people are tuning into the Tigers. I don't think anyone's tuning in to watch the Pirates. Um, but Marlins Pirates, for some reason, the Marlins are currently +100 on the money line. They're expected to start Cody Poteet tomorrow, Higgins, who's 2-1 on the year with a .84 WHIP, a 2.95 ERA, 19 strikeouts to 4 walks on the year. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you, Higgins, is he's been really good. He's young. He's only made 3 starts, but he's 2-1 in those starts, and he's been really good. Meanwhile, the Pirates are starting Tyler Anderson, who's like, your average major league starter, 3-5 on the year, 4.63 ERA, 1.2 a WHIP. Gives up 51 hits, strikes out 55. He's a league average starter, Higgins, but I'll take the guy who's been above league average with the better lineup behind him for +100 odds.
Yeah, I feel like the Marlins are probably should be favored in this series, even though it's in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has not defended at home so far very well. The Marlins on the road haven't been fantastic either, but I have much more faith in this Miami Marlins team this year than I do this Pittsburgh Pirates team, I think, so I like the bet.
All right. I appreciate you backing me, Higgins. It means a lot because I know you're going to be going against me in our next segment here, the Levy Lock and Pick of the Pod.
Yeah, before we get to that though, Brett, I do want to ask you about the Mets versus Padres because it's the night game. It's the game of the night on Thursday, ain't it?
Oh, is it? I didn't even know.
It's a
I know
7 p.m.
it's,
start time. That's a bedtime game for you.
well, 7 p.m. on the West
7
Coast.
p.m. on the West Coast. Yeah,
Oh, I was
the
like,
real time
Higgins,
zone. The
there's
real time zone.
I was like, hey, because there's no way that thing is starting at 7 p.m. But yeah, no, it should be a good one. Ty Walker versus you, Darvish. The Mets look pretty not good. That would be a gross exaggeration after giving up 5 in the first inning the other day to Arizona. But yeah, the Mets took 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks. They're getting healthier, Higgins, even though VR got hurt in that aforementioned game. So I don't really know where I would be on this. My lean would be Mets +158 because they've just been playing more competitive baseball than +158 odds. Like they've been in every game. They've all been close. They've come down to late innings and clutch hits. So I think this one would be close. I think you Darvish is the better pitcher. I think the Padres are probably the better team, but anything can happen in an individual baseball game, Higgins. It's what we always talk about.
Both of these teams had been getting healthier, but then on Wednesday they both had a few players enter onto the IL. Actually, you mentioned VR going day to day. Trent Grisham for the Padres went on to the 10-day IL. Tatis, Kim, and Pham, they're all listed as day to day on Wednesday. Potentially can come back on Thursday. So I'm staying away from that game because I want to see what the lineups are going to be. And since it's so late, I have the luxury of being able to do so.
Yeah, very true, Hagen.